Liebe Grandios-Freunde, ich freue mich, dass ihr wieder mit dabei seid. Wir sind in Berlin und haben hier Tyler zu Gast. Tyler ist Drehbuchautor von The Chosen. Thank you for being here for us. Und unser Thema ist Sehnsucht. Und in The Chosen ist Sehnsucht ein großes Thema. Und deswegen wollte ich mit ihm auch nochmal darüber sprechen, wie man das transportiert. Tyler, thank you for being here for us. Our theme is longing. And first the question, how was it for you to write dialogues from a book which is the most famous book written ever?
It's a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
but it's fun because we get to study the Bible, this most famous book of all time, and imagine what might have taken place between some of the stories or between the lines. And so we've gotten to know these characters very well, and it's actually moved from something that feels very high pressure to something that's actually just a joy. And you know, seeing the actors bring the lines to life and seeing our beautiful new set has become something of a playground. It's still hard work. It's always hard work, but we enjoy it.
But what was before, the actors or the dialogues?
Well, we write the script first and then cast the actors based on their auditions. And for their auditions, they would read a scene from the script that we wrote.
Okay, and how you study all the characters from the Bible?
Well, we have a lot of help. We have researchers, we have Bible scholars, we have historians, Messianic rabbis, a lot of people who look at our scripts once they're done and help us. But along the way, you know, we just use commentaries, Logos Bible software, just in general, just reading the text, you know.
Could you imagine the success of The Chosen?
No, some people could, and they said, "Oh, I think this thing's gonna be big. I think hundreds of millions of people are gonna see it." And I thought, well, that would be great, but I don't know how. And then here we are.
How you write about longing? How you can describe longing? How you can write dialogues so longing can be seen in the pictures, in the movie?
Without longing, there's no story. A character has to want something. They have to have desire. They have to be wishing for something. Otherwise, we wouldn't watch the character because they would just be sitting there content. So all of our characters are longing for something, whether it's to discover who this Jesus person is, whether it is to live out their faith in the way that they believe they're called to. For the character, say, of Simon, you know, he's longing to find purpose in life higher than just being a fisherman. So longing is at the very foundation of all storytelling.
And especially Maria Magdalena is full of longing. And how you feel to write this character?
Well, Magdalene is a wonderful character to explore because in our show, you know, she starts out so far from what she ends up becoming. We really meet her in a very, very dark place, and she's very broken and longing to be made whole. And then as we've continued to explore the character of Magdalene, we see her longing to understand her Jewish background, longing to understand this new rabbi that she's following in the person of Jesus from Nazareth. She is longing to get free of some of her old demons that come back to haunt her in season 2. She is longing to grow in her understanding. She knows how to read. Her dad taught her, so she's able to study the scriptures that way. But she's longing to figure out like where she fits in this big story, and it's just a joy to explore that character. And obviously, Liz Tabish, who plays Mary Magdalene, is such a talented performer. We know we can kind of throw anything at her, and she's going to find a way to make it very authentic and full of meaning and emotion.
How was it for you to write dialogues Jesus talks?
Well, that's a scary thing, right, to put words in Jesus' mouth. But we're very clear that The Chosen is not a sermon. It's not a theological doctrine. It's a TV show. It's entertainment. We hope that when people watch it, they get to know the authentic Jesus more, and we hope it inspires them to read the actual text, what is fully written down. But anytime that Jesus speaks, that it's something directly from the Bible, we just put it directly in. But sometimes, you know, we have to explain a little bit. And so our guiding principle is it plausible that Jesus may have said this?
And at the end, a lot of people watch The Chosen, and also the meaning or the faith of them changes. Could you expect this when you wrote all these books?
Yeah, I mean, from the writing perspective, we're hoping to stir up something in people. You mentioned longing. You know, we hope it creates a longing in people to understand these stories better, these characters better, and if it's their own faith, because some people watch it who aren't Christians, who just find it entertaining, but it may create a longing in them to learn more about the Christian faith. So, but I think when we started, I don't know that we never imagined that people would come to us and say, now when I read the Gospels, I see in my head these characters from the TV show. I never expected that it would kind of come into people's personal devotional life. But of course it has, because we put like skin and bones on these characters that are just words on a page normally, and you're kind of using your imagination, you know.
Did you go to Israel, to Palestine, to watch all these places where Jesus were moving and all the apostles also went to?
Yeah, we definitely toured Israel and spent time on the Sea of Galilee and in the ancient city of Capernaum. We went up in the Golan Heights and kind of the upper Galilee region, really where Jesus walked. And that was really helpful just to kind of see and walk in those footsteps and even taste the food and feel the weather and even just kind of the way even that the air smells there. It's just kind of its own part of the Middle East, you know.
And at the end, it changed also something in your mind, your faith, your longing?
You know, I would say that when I started the project, I thought, you know, this is going to make me a better Christian or something. But as we've worked on it, you know, the characters in the show are not Christians. They're Jewish. And so I've actually learned more about Judaism in the process because we have Jewish holidays, Jewish festivals, Jewish customs, you know, rituals and rules. And so that's actually what I've grown more in my understanding of. And then also just realizing that these characters, the only scripture that they knew was the Old Testament, what we now call the Old Testament. To them, it was just scripture. And so I've gotten to know, we've had to study that a lot more because, you know, the characters that are in the New Testament, they were living, in our show, they're living out that story. So the way that I've grown is really, it has come to a deeper understanding of the way that God's people in the first century related to their understanding of God, which was strictly through the prophets and the law, and then eventually through the person of Christ. But we're just getting to that in the show.
Is there one person, one character you write more longing or more enthusiasm you like more than the other ones?
Well, I can't have any favorites. I love all my children equally. but I would say it's definitely the characters who some of the main characters who exhibit a lot of longing are definitely, you know, Matthew, as he's left his role as a tax collector, is longing to understand where he fits in this group. And that's something that I find easy to relate to, you know, like where do I fit in, or like what's my purpose, you know? And so I really enjoy writing any scenes with Matthew. That's always a joy. Plus, his character has a very unique personality in the show, and so it's just such a distinct voice that's very fun to write.
One of the characters of The Chosen is that all the characters or the people who plays in this series, they have also mistakes. They do mistakes. They have to struggle with problems. They have their own desert in her life, like Maria Magdalena or others, and then they become a better person.
Yeah.
What does it mean for you to see they are not, you know, normally the apostles are always on the throne and
Yeah.
ta-da, they're one of these 12.
Yeah.
But they are normal people.
Right.
How do you feel to downforce these people?
Yeah, I mean,
to make them normal?
That's the best part. I mean, because normally the 12 disciples are just statues in a cathedral or a stained glass window or something. But to bring them down from the stained glass window into flesh and blood, to take those statues and put blood in their veins and give them actual emotions is really fun. And also, because it's a TV show with multiple seasons, we have the time and space to explore each one individually. So they're not just 12 guys. They each have a personality, they each have struggles, as you said, they each have things to overcome, they have strengths, they have weaknesses, they have friendships between each other, they have rivalries between each other, they have confusion over how to follow Jesus, they have a longing to, figure out how to do this, how to be a follower of Jesus and also coexist in a human body with all of its flaws.
And if you write all these dialogues and so on, it becomes not for you a longing or a dream to be one of these 12 in the past?
In the past. Well, that's the essence of writing, is learning how to think like someone else, right?
Yeah.
You have to sort of partially put aside your own self and imagine, okay, what would it be like to be inside this person's world with their kind of work, say Simon as a fisherman, or Thaddeus as a former stonemason, and think how would he talk about cutting a rock or something like that. But filming the scenes that we do outside in the heat or the cold, it doesn't make me want to go back and live in the first century. I'm very glad to be inside.
And at the end, you write something very faithful, and a lot of people now perhaps put you in a corner. This is a book writer. He writes dialogues for faithful things. Is it for you the role of your life and there comes nothing else, or you say something else comes after this and you are not scared because you're in the corner of the faithful?
Oh, right, like being pigeonholed as just writing for faith. Well, it doesn't really matter to me because I don't think there's like Christian writing or non-Christian writing. I think there's just good writing and bad writing. Like the truth is the truth, right? And all truth points toward God in some way. And so I'm not too worried about that. It's an honor to be working on the show right now. We hope that it has many more years ahead of it. And then once this show is complete after its 7th season, we'll just see what's next. But I'm not too worried about getting put in a corner. It's like, oh, that guy only writes Bible stuff. Because I wrote non-Bible things before this, so I'm sure I can get back to that afterward.
Okay. Is there a longing which is the most deepest longing from Tyler?
For me personally?
Yeah.
In relation to the show?
No.
Oh, just in life?
In your life, yeah.
Yeah. I have a longing to see as much of the surface of the earth as possible. I think to not, God's creation is so big. I love to travel. I love to hike. I just have a longing to see as much as I can see while I'm still here.
At the end, Jesus talks a lot about heaven and his kingdom. Is this not also for you a question or a longing how the heaven could be or is?
Well, I think Jesus talks about the kingdom of heaven being here, and he talks about a renewed earth. So I tend not to, I think there's a lot of perspectives on heaven, but the book of Revelation talks about a new heavens and a new earth and a new Jerusalem. It's a city. And so I tend to think of a beautiful city is kind of the image that I kind of carry in my mind. A renewed earth, a new Jerusalem.
Thank you very much, Taylor.
Thank you.
For being with us and give us these impressions about your work for The Chosen.
Oh, it's an honor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, danke.
You speak German?
No.
Liebe Zuschauer, ganz herzlichen Dank, dass ihr mit dabei wart. Das war Taylor vom The Chosen. Und mehr davon gibt es bei uns auf dem YouTube-Kanal oder auf unserer Webseite www.grandios.online. Und wer nichts mehr verpassen möchte, dem empfehlen wir natürlich unser Grandios Abo Plus. Bleiben Sie uns gewogen. Bis bald. Tschüss, ciao.